Hello everyone, my name is Dante. Thank you for tuning in to my channel Bliss Beings, in which I share all of the most lovely things about awakening and spiritual growth and channeling. So, today I'm excited to share with you about masculine and feminine energies and how our limited perception due to our conditioning constricts people in really, really painful ways. So I don't know how much I'm going to get into. I want to start with this idea that masculine and feminine internal energies, this emotional, psychological level, are different from the masculine and feminine outwardly expressed energies, which are a combination of both prescribed social norms and the natural biological tendency of one's body and brain to express in a certain way. I want to first talk about these more inner psychological energies, because this is the root of where there's a lot of distortion. So you can consider masculine energy as focused, expansive, action, stable, logical, rational, supportive. Whereas feminine energy is creative, vulnerable, healing, emotional, nurturing. So it's like the yang and the yin. And these energies, as masculine and feminine, express themselves through every human, through every object, through every spirit, through all worlds. So all is having both of these energies inside. And you can have a lot of masculine energy as a woman and still express yourself physically as a very feminine appearing woman. You can have a lot of feminine energy as a man and still express yourself outwardly as a very masculine man. That's a different thing that I want to keep this video manageable in time, but I might get into that too, depending on how long this takes. So this here is the root of where there's a lot of imbalance. As our society has evolved for thousands and thousands of years to favor the masculine and favor the attributes of the masculine. So this stems back to probably earlier than Atlantean times, but the earliest time that we can really tap into at this point in our evolution is the Atlantean era, where the very technologically based and mentally based and expansive focused Atlanteans destroyed the civilizations at that time in order to continue to pursue their idea of expansion. It was an accident, and that left an impression on the earth that then carried into these new times as well. And beyond that metaphysical woo-woo, today in our world, we assume that all women must embody the masculine energy, while we deny men the ability to embody the feminine energy. Men are taught from a very young age, don't feel, don't cry, be strong, be independent. Now, women are allowed their creative expression and their emotion up to a certain point. Some are not. Some are treated just the same way that men are, as this whole masculine energy thing is so prescribed universally. So women are allowed a bit of their feminine energy. They're encouraged to express at least outwardly feminine, which is a different thing. Though this kind of deep in touch connectedness to emotions, the ability to express vulnerability, the ability to lose yourself in a creative flow, we often cut ourselves off from this. Women have a bit more access to it than men. Women, in general, there's probably more women that are more in touch with this energy, though there's always exceptions, there's always differences, all of this fluctuates, there's no black and white here. So, a lot of women have more of this feminine energy naturally, yet they are expected to and forced to express in this masculine way. Be independent, get a job, do the things you need to do, take care of yourself, stand strong in yourself. And even in movements like feminism, there's often a tendency for women to attempt to embody this masculine energy in order to combat the masculine energy out there in the world. When really we need to allow for that distorted, overpowering masculine energy within us to dissolve first, before we can dissolve that outward expression of that masculine energy. And standing for it, and yes, saying, hey, this isn't right, that's really important. Though we have this tendency to protest in our world. And when you look at people protesting and then you try to have a conversation with them about what they're really protesting for, it's really almost unintelligible most of the time. They have this strong idea that something is going wrong and that their big raging expression is going to change something, when actually that is, again, the distorted masculine energy attempting to combat the distorted masculine energy. Just get more distorted masculine energy. So the real way that this is going to transform in our world is through the embodiment of the feminine energy, through embodying, hey, I really feel like shit when I see these things in the world and when people say and do these things to me and around me. And opening up the ability to have strong, compassionate conversations about this is a really feminine quality that's super important. So men are expected to not have any of this feminine energy. It's seen as weakness if you cry. It's seen as wrong for a lot of men to be creative. Men are expected to go more in this industrial, technological, business mindset. And men are not allowed to go deep into their feelings. Even men I see on this conscious awakening path, when they come to have talking circles, it's often just thought form circles. It's often just, expressing the ideas that will make them feel like they're okay and they're accepted, rather than going deeper into what is there. So it can be really hard for men to step into this feminine energy. And then because of the associations of, oh, the feminine energy must mean you're gay, and gay is seen as less than by most heterosexual people, or weird, I don't know what's going on in those homophobic minds. But men will attempt to avoid anything that likens them to being that way. And really, men are suffering a lot because they are denying themselves access to their emotions and to their feelings. And we can only heal this by allowing for the feminine energy to express through us. And the feminine energy expresses often, it's a very vulnerable, sometimes even pained energy. So the woman goes through this intense birthing process to give life to new creations. When there's no resistance to that, it's obviously less painful, though we've developed a lot of resistance because men have, and everyone has come to fear the feminine energy. And we can only get past this through being able to sit with that pain, being able to hold space for it, and what I see even in the spiritual world is that there's often a very masculine approach, that you just sit and you meditate, or you do something in order to transcend the feelings, you do something in order to just release them. Yet the more real, deeper feminine approach is to be able to sit with those feelings and allow. It's to be able to hold a space of love and compassion for them rather than seeing them as something wrong or bad. So much like dissolving these ideas of the value, the difference in value of masculine and feminine energy, seeing them as two sides of the same thing that are inside everything. We have to experience the same thing with this idea of darkness and light. When we separate darkness from the light, we perpetuate the darkness. We contribute to more darkness in the world. When we understand that darkness and light are expressions of the same energy that come into this dimension and experience polarization, as that is the nature of our universe, then we can truly be able to see the darkness as equal value to the light. We're able to hold space for the darkness as much as we hold space for the light. And instead of moving in the direction of the light in order to avoid the darkness, we stay in equilibrium of the masculine and the feminine energy, and the darkness and the light. And we see them as valid parts of ourselves. When we see in another an imbalance, we see the potential for that same thing within ourselves. We understand that there is a universal cause for pain, and that is feeling separate. So we can't separate the masculine and the feminine energy anymore. And we need to allow ourselves to see them within ourselves, whether we are a man or whether we are a woman. And I think regardless of your gender, there's more work to be done around the feminine energy, because we've come to avoid it so powerfully, deny it so powerfully, try to be strong. And in allowing our weakness, we will find something that's much greater than this experience of perceived strength from outside. We will allow for a degree of vulnerability that allows more love to enter. And this love helps us to feel the oneness and feel the interconnectedness of all. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will continue a video on the expressions of gender in a physical way in the world, as that's something that interests me a lot too. And that will be the next one I put out. So if you've enjoyed this, blissbeings.com is my website where you can do private sessions and channeling sessions with me. And I love to support people in their awakening, and so do the guides that I channel. And I do packages for people who want to work with me over a longer period of time, really commit to the process and see the results after you apply the information, the downloads, the understandings that you gain, and see how that changes your life, and then gain more reflection. It's a really beautiful process that helps people awaken. If you like my videos, patreon.com/bebliss is a really amazing way to support me. Artists and creators and teachers who share freely can receive support from our audience in return, to allow us both to reciprocally expand and exchange love in amazing ways. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Feel free to leave a comment, a question, and I will be happy to get back to you. Much love and blessings to you today. I hope it's the best day ever for you.